Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome back to the old computer shack. I apologize for not getting this video done yesterday, but I was too tired to do anything last night. So, here we have the beautiful Heathkit HF-158-42 XT compatible. It is, quite possibly, the prettiest XT compatible that I have ever seen. Dare I say, prettier even than the Tandy 1000 HX. A lot of it has to do with it being a Heathkit, though. It has the typical XT keyboard layout, meh, but that does mean that control is in the correct place. And the return key actually isn't terrible. The return key isn't terrible. So yeah, I guess it's not exactly an XT layout. That might actually be usable. Yeah, that's not bad. I think that's okay. Yeah, and it feels like it has. Hear that? It's mechanical. Probably Alps switches would be my guess. Yeah, I'd say. Feels the same as that other Alps keyboard. Alright, well that's cool. So, yay. It also came with this, I don't know if it's an external speaker or an external microphone. Probably a speaker, but I guess that's what it is. And, I guess, yeah, let's look at the back before we tear into it and see if we can guess what some of these cards are, although we did that in the last video, but we'll do it again in case you didn't see that one. Yay for us. Okay, here we go. Be right back. Here's the back of the machine. Here's our model label. Model HF-158-40. Okay, never mind. I read that wrong. And a serial number. And here is a certification of FCC compliance. Thank you, mommy government, for making sure that everything is compliant. I don't know, man, that looks a lot like real ballpoint right there. Maybe that's like the dude that oh, that's the guy that built the computer. Yeah, okay, so this was a kit. That explains everything. So this was a kit, and they sent these blank FCC certification stickers because they had to be affixed after the machine was actually manufactured. So the builder manufactures it. So this was the guy that built this kit to begin with. Richard G. Grant in February of '86. So that's kind of interesting. But if we look over here, there's another sticker up here. It looks like some kind of service tag or something from 1988. So it must have been sent in for something. I don't know what, though. So that'll be interesting to try to figure out. And you guys are probably waiting to see this most. Here are the backs of the expansion slots. And let's go from right to left just because things look more interesting on the left. So this looks like it could be some kind of modem, or given that it has like some extra shit on it, like there's a knob and some kind of hole for something, and there's an RCA jack up here. I'm gonna guess that this is actually like a fax card. But I don't know, maybe it is a modem. I don't think there were actual like fax/modems in '86, but then again, maybe this was added later, so maybe that is just a regular modem. Who the hell knows? But I just don't understand why there's an RCA jack on there. Maybe that's where that speaker plugs in, I don't know. But then there's this other card that just has two RCA jacks on it. What? I don't know. I'm thinking that must be some kind of sound card, and that must be what that speaker or microphone or whatever the hell that thing is plugs into. Now, here's the great big D-sub connector. I'm going to guess that that is a floppy controller card, which is interesting because according to the manual, the floppy controller is built into some of this other stuff that we'll talk about here in a second. So that's kind of interesting. Now here is some kind of video card. It's a Db9 video card. and these things supposedly have CGA built into them according to the manual. So I'm going to guess that this is some kind of EGA card, I guess. I don't know why you would install a secondary CGA card, since the original also has a composite video output on it. It's possible that this composite video output, according to the manual, is only black and white, though, so I guess it's possible that this could be a CGA card that they added just to get color output from. I don't know. And then we get to the really interesting stuff. So here's some kind of regular height fat boy card of some kind, right? It's really wide up here. It has what we would assume is a parallel printer interface down here. It has what we would assume is a 5-pin DIN keyboard port right here, and a button, right? So that must be, yeah, that's stuff that you'd usually find down here. Interesting, huh? I wonder what that means. No. And here is some kind of funny tall boy card that has what is almost certainly a serial port in it, given that it only has these particular pins crimped into the D-sub connector, and what we would have to assume is some kind of video port, as well as an RCA jack, which we would also have to assume is video, according to the manual. That's exactly what they are. And yeah, that's a parallel port, and yeah, that is a keyboard port. I'm sorry for being a drama queen and trying to stretch things out, but yeah, this is a turbo switch. It switches it between 4.77 megahertz and 8 megahertz. All right, but why are they on what appear to be expansion cards? Well, some of you have probably already guessed. Let me put you up on the camera boom, and we will disassemble this beautiful thing and see what is going on inside. Yes. Alright, here we go, boys. I've got the screws out together. Let's disassemble this Heathkit monstrosity, this beautiful monstrosity, and see what is inside. It's very clean on the outside, but you never know quite what you're going to get when you open an old computer for the first time. It could have lots of dust bunnies, it could have bugs, it could have mice, it could even have a dead hooker inside. Let's see. Dun dun. Is that how that? Yeah. Oh, it lifts now. Okay. Dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Are you coming? What are you stuck on? I don't want to break something. Oh, it's just that. Okay. Dun dun dun. There it is, boys. There it is. Wait, I have to do something with the top now. Oh, the anticipation. It's killing us. So, yeah, there's the machine. At first glance, it looks like an XT that's got a whole fuck ton of cards in it, right? But look down here. That doesn't look like a regular motherboard, does it? It's just a passive backplane. These two cards right here are the actual computer, the motherboard. It's split between these two cards that plug into this passive backplane, this passive ISA 8-bit backplane in the bottom of the machine. So that's interesting. That's very, very interesting. And what we thought was a modem is big as fuck. I mean, that is a full-length ISA card, and it's like it's attached under this metal bracket somehow. That is a big boy, and it's even got a daughter board on it. Look at this freaking daughter board on this thing. That's pretty large and in charge and strain. That thing is the size of a horse's tail. Look at that. Alright, I got the daughter board off so we can look at the whole thing. It's interesting that some of these pins are gold plated and some are not. I'm not sure why it would have been made like that. I assume that this is not something that was assembled by the end user. When they call it a Heathkit computer kit, I assume that the cards came and the backplane and everything, and you just had to bolt the backplane into the case and put it all together like that. I assume that there was no soldering involved, because computer kits, I mean, like shitty little like digital clock and like bench power supply kits and stuff like that are one thing, but like an actual honest to God XT compatible kit would have been like a tech support nightmare. So surely Zenith just manufactured the boards and they just came in bags and you just plugged everything together. I don't know though, maybe this was soldered by the end user and that's why some of this stuff's different. So yeah, the daughter board has some Rockwell chips on it, which must have something to do with it being a modem of some kind. It's just so frickin' big. I mean, it's like, here we've got a full-size speaker. I mean, we can't just have some shitty little piezo beeper, right? I mean, we need the full high-fidelity modem growl experience here with a full-sized speaker, and it has a headphone jack in it. Why would a modem card have a headphone jack in it? I don't know, man. That's a little strange. Yeah, but on the back, which I didn't see before because I'm dumber than a sack of hammers, it says Zoom Telephonics, Zoom Modem / PC, Zoom Technology Incorporated, 1986 revision 3.1. So I'll have to look that up after a while and find out what the hell it is. And there's some jumpers here to change it between COM1 and COM2, so that's not surprising. And then there is another little block of dip switches back here. We're gonna have to look on the internet to figure out what the hell this thing is. That's very, very interesting and strange. I'm delighted by this machine already. Okay, next card is what we thought was an audio card, maybe of some kind. This one I'm extremely curious about. This could be something really cool, or it could be something really lame. I don't know which. If it's an old ad-lib card or something, that would be pretty sweet. Okay, it says PC voice card up here. It has a bunch of 74LS logic on it and some kind of SSI 263 AP chip right there. Some kind of LSI chip of some kind, I guess. So voice card, I guess maybe this is a voice synthesis chip or something similar to what maybe it is exactly the same chip. I don't know. I don't remember what the chip is that goes on the Mockingbird for voice synthesis. But yeah, if that's the case, then this isn't actually a very interesting card, because that'll just be shitty robot voice from 1980s, you know what I'm saying? Which, I mean, if you're into that thing, cool, but you know, it's not like FM synthesis card of some kind. But that's alright, it's still pretty neat. We'll have to see if we can find some software for this and fart around with it a little bit just for shits and giggles. Okay, let's see. Now this next one, well, we thought that was going to be some kind of floppy controller, but I can see back here there's a couple of headers for MFM hard drive data lines, so it must be a combination floppy hard drive controller, and they only used it for a hard drive controller because the floppy drives are still plugged into these big cards. But there's nothing plugged into this thing, and there's no place to put a hard drive in this thing, so I'm just kind of flummoxed as to why this card is even in this machine. Let's pull it out and see what it is. Now, one thing, I mean, yeah, it's some kind of Everex. That's some kind of Everex hard drive controller of some kind. Maybe there was originally an external hard drive plugged into this thing, and that's what this big connector's for. It's a damn shame that we couldn't get that with this card. That would have been sweet as fuck, you know what I'm saying? That's interesting, though. I've never seen an MFM controller with an external port on it before. Yes, now we were thinking that this next one Might have been some kind of video card. Let's see what it looks like. And yeah, my arm's fine. It wasn't much of a scratch. You can still see kind of one of them there. I disinfected everything and they quit puffing up and being red, so you know, no big deal. There's one that comes down around here, and there's a little short one here, and this long one right here, but it didn't amount to anything. He was so mangy and weak that he couldn't have done much anyhow. Now there's no sticker left on this UV ROM here, so that's not cool. Let me get a piece of tape to put over that. We don't want to lose our ROM data. So there are lots of chips and technology chips on here. Yes, it is an EGA 480 card. That's interesting. I've never had an EGA card before, and I don't have any EGA monitors. So this is of limited usefulness to me, but perhaps I can trade it for something more useful to me. It's got a header for a light pin here. No idea what that jumper's for. Here's a unpopulated header for an internal monitor. Maybe these were used in some of the like Z100s and shit too. But yeah, this is the floppy controller and CGA interface, and that is a lot of discrete logic. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now here's something that surprises me, that I wouldn't have thought that the ROMs in an XT would support a 720K 3.5-inch disk drive. I thought that's what we thought was a floppy controller to begin with, was actually for an expansion floppy controller specifically to support the 3.5-inch disk drive, but that's not the case. So this ROM, this Zenith ROM right here that the sticker is coming off of, I can feel the erase window underneath of there. We don't want that to get erasified. Let me just stick a little piece of safety tape on there just to keep that down. We don't want anything bad to happen, and this electrical tape will peel off without damaging the sticker. Once we get around to refurbishing this thing and glue that thing back down there. Yeah, we'll just wrap it around there like that. Keep the light out, right like that. Very good. So, yeah, here's our 8088 CPU. It has a coprocessor installed. That's interesting, an 8087 coprocessor, and that's an old school ceramic package with gold leads. That's pretty neat. Yeah, that's pretty neat. So this is just the CPU and some RAM. I don't know how much RAM. It's fully populated though. All of these RAM chips on here are 41256s, which I'm pretty sure are going to be a 256K by 1-bit chip, and there are 9 of them in each bank, meaning that one of them is for parity. So that's interesting that it has parity RAM in it. But the thing about that is, right, like 2 banks of 256K will give us our 512, and then another bank of 256K is going to give us 768K, which is higher than the 640K DOS base, right? So is this thing going to have UMBs like built in? That's kind of trippy, if true. Or maybe I'm wrong about the capacity of those RAM chips, but that would be 768K of RAM and an XT compatible. That's fascinating. Huh. That is a nice beefy turbo switch. I like it. I like this machine a lot, gentlemen. I'm very, very enthusiastic about this machine. It's really, really neat. The XTs and the ATs, or the PCs and the XTs, had a different expansion slot spacing than the AT. Because I was kind of thinking at first, you know, since it's a backplane computer, it would be kind of interesting to put a 16-bit backplane in it, and then install like a 486 or even some kind of Pentium class industrial single board computer into the thing, because you know they just plug into a passive ISA, passive industrial backplane like this one that I've been stealing edge connectors off of. But I don't know. It seems like such a neat machine that I'm not sure. Might just want to keep it the way it is, but it's not tremendously useful the way it is. I've got lots of XT and PC class machines already, but it would be neat to use it from something, like, legitimately. I'll bet I could just, like, I could get like a, like one of those little Raspberry Pi like mini PCs, or maybe even just a Raspberry Pi, and make it on, put it on an ISA card that would just plug in here and draw power, and then, you know, I just have to plug USB keyboard and an HDMI display into the card, and the rest of the computer would still work as an XT. That would be pretty neat. And then I could, then this could be like my legitimate, like, my legitimate Linux machine. Because it's just such a pretty case. Did you see, remember how it looks? It's beautiful. Look how beautiful. Now watch me drop it on the floor and destroy it. Look how beautiful that thing is, man. Is that not one of the most beautiful looking old computers, old PCs that you've ever seen? A Heathkit, man. It's a frickin' Heathkit. That's cool, right? Or am I just a Heathkit fanboy? I'm not gonna bother with pulling out the disk drives. Well, actually, no. I can see from here that that 3.5-inch disk drive. It just has a little adapter board on the back of it to go to an edge connector. So it must. These machines originally came with two 360K 5.25-inch floppy drives, so that must be a later upgrade. I've reinstalled the CPU card and the combination video and floppy controller. My assumption is that since there was an external EGA card installed, that this card here is probably jumpered to disable the onboard CGA video. So I've installed this 16-bit VGA card that does happen to work in 8-bit machines, because I don't have an EGA monitor, and we'll just plug it into the regular old monitor over here. Let me switch inputs, and there are a couple of electrolytics on these boards, but they all look fine. There's no bulging. Everything else I think are ceramic capacitors. There are a couple of tantalums. I think that's a tantalum. I think that's one. I don't know what's going to happen here, but hopefully if the magic smoke does come out, it won't permanently damage anything, and then we'll know what we need to fix. Alright, here we go. God, I hope this thing works. No magic smoke. No magic smoke. The monitor has locked onto a VGA signal. The CRT is warming up. I see a cursor. Error. No keyboard code received. Well, gentlemen, this is looking good. Okay, so this is interesting. Yeah, I think you can see everything now. Down here, on the back plane, there are a bunch of status LEDs. I'm not sure what they all mean, but that's pretty interesting. I'll bet those are for all the power rails or something. because I don't know what else they could be on a passive backplane. So those must, yeah, they're all lit. Some of them are a little weak, but that's probably fine. But here's something else interesting. Up here on the CPU card, it has a bunch of activity LEDs for the CPU, the ROM, the RAM, the interrupts, the disks, and I guess the ready line. Because it's lit right now and it's active load to halt the CPU for DMA and stuff. So that's, alright, am I thinking of the right line? Maybe I'm full of shit. I can't remember. Sorry if I'm wrong. Don't pay any attention to me. Anyway, so that's pretty neat. So yeah, this is a really cool old computer, guys. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, let me hook up the keyboard and get a boot disk in that 3.5-inch drive, and we'll see what happens. Okay, yeah, that 3.5-inch disk drive, when I put a disk in it, it seemed really skeevy, so I will be surprised if it will boot this disk without some maintenance. Maybe it never will at all. Drive not ready. Had a feeling that might happen. Let me try something else here. Alright, spare XTCF card installed in there with the card out of the Tandy 1000, so if it bitches about trying to load drivers that seem like they're for a Tandy 1000, that's why. Let's see if it'll boot off of that. There it goes. Listen to this. Can you hear that? It has a freaking key click sound. We'll have to figure out how to turn that off. Okay, so running the memory test, even though it has 3 banks of 256 kilobit ROMs, it's still only seeing 640K, so that extra 128K must be wasted or something, I don't know. Or it's possible that I may have to run some kind of UMB driver to get it to see that 128K. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that more later. Well, the RAM test all passed. Well, it looks like the CPU, the floating point unit, and the DMA and interrupt controllers are all working right. Yay. This is probably incorrect jumper settings on my VGA card rather than a problem with the system itself, but I don't think I've ever run check on this card before, but it's interesting that the 40 column modes are actually displaying in 80 columns. So yeah, the system speed's pretty typical for a Turbo XT. It does switch to 8 megahertz. The math speed's significantly better. Of course, it's got the floating point unit installed in it, so that explains that. So that's pretty cool. So I guess in the future I can just do all my spreadsheet work on this machine, right? Yeah. Pretty cool. It works, gentlemen. Let's see if we can find out what the rest of those cards are. So yeah, this card is just a regular MFM controller, although it is fairly unusual to find one with an external connector here. So yeah, this is, I looked up the part number on this chip. It is some kind of speech synthesis card. I can't find any manufacturer information anywhere on this card. It says CCI 1-0 down here. There is a company called CCI that makes microphones and audio products, but I can't find anything about the card or this part number up here or anything on the web. So if any of you guys know what the hell that thing is and what software I could use to try it out, I would be thrilled if you could let me know. So yeah, I can't find much about this modem either. I think it's either 1200 baud or 2400 baud, but I don't know which. Anyway, it's cool from the perspective of being huge and old, but not very useful. So, yeah. I've got a big stack of cards that I can trade for stuff. Would like to figure out what the deal with this voice card is, though. It would be fun to try that, although it's not really something I want to keep. But this thing is pretty sweet, but oh my god, that fucking foam is falling to pieces. It has got to go. It's already stuck to the bottom of the keyboard there. Ugh. It was so clean and beautiful before. Get off of their nasty old foam. Be gone, evil one. Okay, I don't know if this qualifies as a DOS-Cember video because we didn't actually do all that much with DOS, but it is a PC and it is a cool, pretty damn cool old PC. So, XT, whatever. So, thanks for joining me, folks. I'll see you, excuse me, next time.